Hi guys, it's Chris and welcome back to the channel. I'm here doing the react to Amber's video titled Major Health Scare and Why I've Been Seeing Doctors Lately. I was gonna review it right away, but I'm telling you, she had me so freaking mad that I had to just take a day. And other people are really kind of livid about it too. So this one and the foodie one, which I'm going to also react to, they have gotten onto my very last girl world nerve. So I apologize if I'm super extra angry or snarky in this video, and foodies possibly. There may be some F-bombs dropped, more than usual. I know I maybe say them occasionally, but I can't make any promises in this one, guys. This is just a joke. I've watched a couple reacts to it. The one thing I want to say is if the information she gave after her surgery, her hysterectomy, the paperwork that is on the forms is true, and hers, she did in fact have cancer, guys. I know Amber would lie about a lot and everything, but if that paperwork is legitimate, she did in fact have cancer and have the hysterectomy. I know some people are saying because she didn't have chemo after and stuff that she didn't have it, but the fact is she was supposed to go to follow-ups every 6 months with an oncologist for 5 years, and she just never went back. But it doesn't always, depending on the stage, require surgery. Or require chemo or radiation. We just had a family friend, young woman, have the same cancer, the same procedure, and for whatever reason, they deemed it not necessary for her to have any chemo or radiation. So that happens. But anyways, I don't want this freaking react to be an hour long. Like I said, I can't make any promises. What's in my cup today? We could start doing that little what's in my cup maybe. I just have my instant coffee, my decaf, piping hot with some stevia. And guys, I've been putting I got some organic cacao powder. It's tasty, it's rich, it's low in calories, low in carbs, very high in antioxidants and stuff, so really good for you. And I think a tablespoon or so is like a serving, and it's only like 20 calories and like 2 or 3 carbs. I put maybe about a half a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon if I'm feeling froggy, into my hot coffee, and I'll do that a couple times a day with some stevia. Sweeten it to your liking, and a little bit of a sugar-free creamer. My sweet Italian cream is my favorite, and it is so good. If you only do a little bit, it doesn't give it a real chocolatey flavor, but it does give the coffee a little bit of richness and a little bit of a body, and just a little more depth. It's really a tasty, good little treat. It satisfies me. If you put a little bit more in, like, you don't need a whole tablespoon. I mean, I can do maybe max, like I said, a weak teaspoon, and it gives an undertone of a cocoa flavor, but nothing crazy. But it's so good. Like I said, very rich. It's just great. And if you want to try that, and it's just a little way to boost a little bit of the satisfaction and the health benefits of a cup of coffee. Like, it's one of the things that's been keeping me on track, you know, as far as I just don't feel deprived, and it's just so much better for you than like a coffee shop or Starbucks latte. So I'm just, one of the most important things for losing weight and maintaining weight is just finding things that scratch those itches for you that you can have on the regular that are better choices, right? And I'm not saying don't go get the Starbucks every now and then, but at least that way you're not getting it every day. But that's for people, anybody who's not Amber, because Amber, we all know, doesn't give a shit about her health. Let's get into this video, guys, and I am going to give some diet and health and medical information. This video is perfect. It's right down the center lane of my wheelhouse, because I do have that medical hands-on care background as a nationally registered paramedic in my day, and I also worked in both a doctor's office on the ambulance and in the hospital. I worked on the med surge telemetry units until I could transfer down to the emergency room, which is where I love to work because I had the experience to do the EKGs and all that. But so I know she gets into some stuff with ERs and everything. So what I'm going to say is legitimate, and everything. I'm going to poke the holes in the story. Let her try to come for me for this one. I hope she does, because I'll drag her over the coals. But anyways, let's get into this.
Hey guys, welcome to a new vlog. So today I have an appointment to get a CT scan. So I want to explain kind of...
It's not a vlog, Amber. It's just you sitting, which is par for the course. And let me tell you guys, I know she said before she couldn't get her CT scans because she couldn't fit in the scanners. I don't think she can still fit into the MRIs, but I looked it up, and I'm assuming it's because of how big people are getting, at least in America. There are CT machines that they usually can top out around 450 to 500 pounds, but there are CTs that from what I looked up, I saw the max weight is 680 pounds. So she can definitely fit into one now. I'm guessing, but she's probably really pushing the limit on those 500-pound ones. So we'll see. And like I said, I've always said I don't believe her weights. I think whatever she's saying, add 30 to 50 pounds to it. I think right now Amber is probably actually sitting closer to around 535 to 545. But that's just my opinion.
Been happening, but I feel like I need to do just a real quick backstory of when I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. So I get asked
we need those mid rolls
a lot, like what was my biggest symptom of that? It was the fact that I bled for over 2 years. I never went to a gyno because I did go to the ER a couple times.
Now let me tell you, going to the gyno is not pleasant. Like, it's not on anybody's ooh, I want to do this list, right? But the thing is I find it hard to believe that she bled every day, constantly, severely for 2 years. Because the thing is she would have become so anemic and depleted and lightheaded. She would have lost so much blood volume, right? So I do think there was bleeding. And then maybe days where it was just lighter, like spotting and stuff, which is very minor. So that could have been the case. But I mean, girl, any woman knows you can have irregular periods. You can have really heavy ones. You can have light ones. But some women have a period for 2 or 3 days and it's done. Some 7, 8, 9 days. And I feel for you. But the fact is no woman would bleed for more than 2, maybe 3 weeks straight max. And I'm saying that's like pushing it, without going and calling the OBGYN and saying, hey, like, you know, something's going on. This is abnormal, to get in to get a test. The fact that Amber waited 2 years shows a lot about her laziness, her lack of commitment to her health, her lack of basic biological knowledge of her own body and how a woman's body and cycles work. So yeah, that 140 Mensa IQ is just showing its head again, right?
See an actual doctor a couple times, and every single time I'd go, they would say, yeah, this isn't normal, but people your size have really weird and irregular periods. And I was diagnosed with a UTI multiple times. So all of that.
Now she could have had a UTI as well, because like, I know Amber's gonna hate it, and her Am babies are gonna, oh, you're just so mean, you're a jerk. Whatever, ask me if I care. Amber probably could get frequent UTIs because she's not clean. Like, even on her best days, I'm sorry, she cannot clean down there properly. There's no ventilation down there. There's so much just flesh and stuff that things grow, you know, and that's a common thing. She's not sexually active, so she's not getting it from that, but you can get it from poor hygiene, and some people are just prone to them, you know. Some people just get them. I'm going to tell you, I really don't like that she's slighting the ER, because I'm going to tell you, as somebody who has both gone to the ER as a patient, who has worked in an ER for a job, who dealt with discharge papers and writing up orders and just talking to people, and also interacting when I was on the ambulance when we took people to the ER. That was 98% of our trips. They could have said, yes, we think you have a UTI, or you do have a UTI. They very likely could have said, yes, people your size do have irregular period, because they do. In fact, I'm shocked that she would have even been having a period at her size, because once you get too lean or too big, a lot of the times you're are so messed up that you actually stop getting it. Amenorrhea is what that's called medically. But I know they very likely, she's not lying about that. They told her, people your size have irregular periods, can have problems. I can tell you 110% they also gave her on her discharge instructions. And when they were telling her to go, they told her to follow up with her gyno, with a gyno, or at the very least with her PCP to set up an appointment with a gynecologist. There is no way in hell they sent her home. Especially if she was honest and said, oh, hey, by the way, I've been bleeding for 6 months, for 8 months, for a year, for 2 years, however long it had been at that point. They would have said, you need to see a specialist. You need to see a gynecologist. They will even give you, if you say, oh, I don't know any, do you have, they will even give you names of people, of specialists, of doctors in their system, like in their provider network to call. And her PCP would have very much probably had her follow up if she was getting frequent UTIs and having these problems. Would have had her follow up with a gyno. They may have sent her to a urologist to, do testing and stuff on her urethra and bladder and all that stuff. They may have sent her to a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor. And they would have definitely had her follow up with her oncologist. So they did not just say, oh, you're fat, it happens, here you have a UTI, and send her on her merry way. That is absolutely not true. Amber just didn't want to do anything because it takes effort to get up and go to the doctors.
Fed into my delusion, and it made it to where the fear of going to a gynecologist was a lot stronger than me actually going. Long story short, I did have uterine cancer. I ended up getting a full hysterectomy, so I no longer have a menstrual cycle, so I don't bleed from down yonder. So if I ever notice blood from down yonder, something is wrong. So it was a little over 2 weeks ago, I went pee and I noticed there was blood.
We know it's not from all that lesbian activity, right? Down yonder. Yeah, she absolutely should have been seeing doctors.
Blood in my pee. This is very hard for me to talk about. I have cried a lot about this whole thing because I am scared.
Why? No, Amber. You don't get to be scared. You don't get to come on here and pine for pity. Oh, I'm so scared, guys. No. Because and she said she went to her follow-ups and stuff. She did not. One, because she would have bragged about it, because that's what Amber does. And two, I remember that whole fiasco, as she says, that whole fiasco where she went to her cancer doctor and amazingly, she wasn't in their system. Nobody else's information was lost, but Amber's whole medical file was absent. They didn't have it at all. Not in their files, not in their digital files, not in their medical records, nothing. She had never gotten a call that there was a breach of data in their system, which does happen from time to time. But guess what? That affects a whole large group of patients, not just one person who just happens to ironically be Amber. She was not in their system because she never went back for a follow-up, which is unfreaking believable. It was cancer, for criminy sake.
When I first saw it, I had so many memories flashback. It was straight up as if I was back in that uterine cancer journey. It hit me like this. And
I really, you can't say that upsets you, Amber, because you've done fuck all ever since then to change. In fact, you got worse. If you fluctuate the same, 10 to 20, 30 pounds maybe, which guess what, for you is not a loss. It is a fluctuation. Because me, at my current weight, I can fluctuate depending on how much I've eaten, if I've gone to the bathroom, if I've, if it's my time of the month, I can fluctuate 1 to sometimes upwards of 6 pounds. So it's a fluctuation for you. You haven't changed. You haven't even maintained your weight but cleaned up your diet. You still eat worse than ever. I wouldn't feed my worst enemy the way you feed yourself unless I wanted to actually slowly kill them, which is what you're doing, and torture them. And you haven't tried to be more active. You haven't done any actual work on your clear mental problems. So you don't get to sit here and cry and say, I was so scared, guys. I'm having flashbacks. I was so worried. Cancer upset me that much. No, it clearly didn't, Amber. It clearly didn't.
And I broke down. So after I calmed down a little bit, I realized, okay, you know what?
And you ordered Uber Eats, right? You probably ordered Uber Eats.
This could be just a UTI. I ended up talking to my closest friends who have had UTIs, and I was like, what were you guys' symptoms? Like,
You don't, first of all, you don't have friends, okay, Amber? And second of all, you've had UTIs before. You know the symptoms, clearly. So why are you asking them or asking anybody?
scared, obviously. And of course I went onto the Google, and everywhere and everyone was like, yeah, you know, a little bit of blood in your urine.
And that is possible. A lot of the times you don't have blood in your urine actually with a UTI. At least there's like 2 different types of hematuria, which is that means blood in the urine. Hema or hemato in medical jargon is a prefix meaning regarding the blood, and urea means like urine, ureters, all that type, urinary, that type of stuff. There is microscopic hematuria, which is like blood that is in there, but you can't see it with the naked eye, but it is picked up. The blood cells are picked up in a lab test. And then there is gross hematuria, which is what Amber's talking about. And that is when it's to the point where you can see it in your urine, even if it's just staining it slightly pink. That's when you can actually see it. But I've had a couple urinary tract infections in my time. I never had any blood that I noticed, but they can pick up the bacteria and stuff in a urine test and verify the UTI. You don't have to have blood in it.
Totally normal for a UTI.
But like, it's not uncommon.
Having no other symptoms. Like I had no pain, nothing.
And that's one of the things that does give me a little bit of concern for this situation type deal moment. Is almost always everybody I've ever heard, every patient I've ever seen, every time I've had one, there are physical symptoms. It's not just like, oh, I have one really, but I don't feel it. I know it can be like that, but it is really common that you get burning or even itching or pain or discomfort. One of the main things is you feel like you have to go to the bathroom like every 5 seconds. As soon as you're done, you feel like you have to go again, and you go and try to go, and nothing really comes out because your bladder is in fact empty, and it's either just uncomfortable and annoying, or sometimes there's a little bit of a burning when there's like a couple little drips coming out. But yeah, there usually are symptoms like that, but not everybody gets those. You can have a UTI without any actual physical discomfort in that region. You may even be like starting to just feel lethargic, starting to get a little bit of a fever. It can manifest in that type of way too.
I immediately knew, okay, I need to go to a doctor. Let's get this tested. Let's get put on some antibiotics, get this figured out. So I called around to a couple doctors, and one of them was like, we don't have an appointment open until next year. I was like, did I hear you wrong? Oh, didn't hear that wrong. Literally next year. With new patients, it's very different, which I don't understand like the concept. Like there's only certain spots open for like new patients versus like doctors who have seen the same patient over and over. I don't understand it. I'm not meant to. Long story.
It's because you're a dumbass, Amber. You're absolutely as dumb as a box of rocks. The thing is one, doctors are pressed for time anyways. Most appointments are only with a doctor are between 5 and maybe 10 minutes long, maybe 15 if you're lucky. A new patient, they send you a bunch of paperwork. You have to take it in. And what they do is they go over a very detailed past medical history, your past, previous, current concerns with your health, anything that's going on, talk about your medicines, review them. It's a very, it's on top of all the other stuff like your vitals, and they might possibly run like some lab work and stuff. It's a very detailed appointment. So usually whenever I did that contract at the medical office, we booked new patients, their appointments were booked for 45 minutes to about an hour. We would give a little wiggle room. So they just don't have the time, Amber. So again, you don't get to cry about this because you've been in Oklahoma for 7 or 8 months. You knew you were going. You could have called before you moved, or at the very least right after you moved, said, hey mom, what are some local doctors in the area? You could have said, hey, I just moved here, I need to establish a PCP. And then they could have sent you out the new paperwork, had you an appointment. Even if you had to wait, you probably would have had your new patient appointment by now. You would have been established. They could have been more likely to squeeze you in or see you or something. But no, Amber, that would require you to be responsible and have some due diligence and do some work. And we know that we see very clearly now that you don't have a caretaker girlfriend. You know, your mom helps you out as best she can. But when you don't have somebody there physically 24 hours doing everything for you, shit doesn't get done.
Story short, every doctor that I called, they're like, yeah, you can be seen in a couple months from now. Like, there was none that was like urgent, and this felt urgent to me.
Well, I'm sorry that the world doesn't stop for you and revolve around you, Amber. I'm sure that was a nice little nasty taste of reality you didn't like.
I am a woman that has blood in her pee after having uterine cancer and a full hysterectomy 4 years ago. Like, that felt urgent to me. So since I
Okay, but they're not going to kick other patients out for you. They're not going to say, well, you're more important.
wasn't able to make a doctor's appointment, I did go to immediate care.
She's just saying immediate care. It's urgent care. It's like, like a Med Express, something like that. Like a mini little ER type deal.
I took my urine sample and I had no bacteria in it. I have no UTI.
And that concerns me because you will usually see a bacteria when you have a UTI, some sediment in the urine. She doesn't mention that. But I mean, if it's in the early stages or whatever, I don't know. It's weird because she has bleeding. Sometimes it might not pick it up. That's crazy. I haven't seen that, but I'm not saying that it's not a possibility.
It shows no signs of anything. So I explained to them, I did move to Oklahoma in October. I have not gotten a doctor yet. I did not make that a priority for myself, and I should have. I understand.
No, because all you cared about was trying to snag a new girlfriend, drinking, acting like this cool chick, eating whatever you wanted because you had no holds barred because nobody was there to stop you, and trying to like guilt Jade into coming back or make her feel guilty. Her priorities were schmoozing her mom up good so that she could for sure rides right now and have stuff done. And other than that, her sole focus was on eating and trying to snag a girlfriend. That's all it was.
That. So immediate care gave me a card for a doctor that probably would be willing to see me soon. So I was like, okay. So I ended up going home, calling, make an appointment, and I did see that doctor. I took another urine test, and again, it came back with no bacteria, nothing.
See, so that's showing it wasn't just a faulty test or sample because it came back twice with no bacteria. That's interesting.
Wrong, like no UTI. And that's when the topic of cancer came up. And the only way.
Oh, boo-hoo. Did you tell them, oh, you know what? If you tell me it's cancer, it's no big deal because, I had this cancer shit before. It didn't make me change a thing. In fact, I got worse. Yeah, but anyways, what were you saying about, like, she treated cancer as if she had had a cold.
Way for them to see if it is cancer is if I get a CT scan, which is what I'm going to do today. Obviously.
And that's interesting because, like, she never went back for those scans. They could have removed her entire reproductive system. Thank God. She cannot procreate. But, she wouldn't anyways. A child is too much work and it requires you to think about something other than yourself. But, the cancer cells could have spread and be slowly spreading and growing in other parts of your body, meaning in that area, your kidneys, your bladder, your urethra, like there's a whole bunch of stuff down there, your stomach, your intestines. There's a bunch of areas it could have spread to and could have been growing, and she may have a problem with it. What's she going to do if it's legitimate bladder cancer? Or intestinal cancer, or kidney cancer, or pancreas, something like that. She's not going to get on a list for an organ transplant, same as Foodie. If she needed like a kidney, her size, her poor health, her poor diet choices, her ability, her weight, her refusal to change anything, she'd be so screwed. I don't know. I'm not saying it. I'm saying that is a possibility, but she could also be catastrophizing it because she likes to make it seem worse for pity and content and stuff like that. It could just be a UTI, a kidney infection, bladder infection, something like that. But the big question is, regardless of what it is, she's sitting here talking about how scared she is and how she was having these flashbacks and the PTSD situation type deal, guys. Boo hoo. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to make changes? I don't think you have, because you've recorded videos of you eating junk ever since it started. So it's not scaring you. It's not me, unless we see immediate changes, definite changes, definitive weight loss. That's why she's going on Ozempic, to try to lose weight, because she thinks, oh, I'll do this, I'll lose 20 or 30 pounds and it'll be good and I'll be good. No, you need to lose another 200 to 250, 300 minimum with those 20 or 30 or 40 pounds you may lose on Ozempic. She's not going to use it to change her habits and make better choices. She's going to let it do its thing for a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks, get upset that she can't eat what she wants. She won't get the food pleasure and she can't eat as much as she wants, and she will quit it. She will use the excuse, oh, it's too expensive, or my gallbladder, my dangling pancreas, nausea, something, okay? So yeah, but the fact is no matter what, she brought this all on herself, and she does not get to say that she's scared and she's upset and she's worried. Let's just see, guys. Let's see how her diet looks from here on out. Her activity. See if we can see visible weight loss, see the weigh-ins, because if it really truly did scare her, she would make changes.
There's also a chance that it's literally just kidney stones. I have had kidney stones in the past, but normally when I've had kidney stones, I did have pain. So the CT scan is actually going to be looking at my pelvis and my abdomen.
I drink a shit ton of soda, like diet soda, and I don't have kidney stones. So because I drink water too. She has to drink, the way she drinks so much Gatorade and shit she doesn't need, and pop. She doesn't drink nearly enough water. It wouldn't surprise me if she didn't have kidney stones.
So the doctor did tell me, I'm going to put you on some antibiotics because you could have an infection that our urine test just is not picking up. So that is the reason why I'm on antibiotics. I'm terrified, to say the least. I have broke down.
No. Like I said again, you don't get to say you're terrified, Amber. You don't get to say you're terrified and you broke down and all this and that, because you didn't change a goddamn thing last time, and it doesn't look like you're changing anything now. People who are truly scared change things to get themselves out of the scary predicament that they're in.
Down a lot because of this, and I actively feel myself disassociating. Right?
No, you're not, Amber. Get the out of here.
Now I just feel numb. I feel completely numb, and I know that if I wasn't in this like numb,
and that's what she'll do. She'll say she disassociated and she was numb. She'll eat. She'll have all the food she wants, and she'll say, it was just, I was numb. I didn't feel anything, so I ate, or I stress ate. It's my eating disorder, blah, blah, blah. I'll start Monday, guys. Yeah, for real. I'll start Monday, just like any other day.
Space, then I would be.
Also, do you guys think that the weigh-in we're going to get when she starts Ozempic, she should be uploading today or tomorrow. I have so many videos to make, so look for those coming out in the next couple of days. Do you think that this weigh-in is even going to be freaking honest? I mean, let's be real. Do you think it's going to be honest? Whatever she says, I'm telling you, tack on 20 pounds to it.
Be bawling my eyes out right now, but I think I feel safer in this weird disassociative area, because when I'm like breaking
Amber,
down,
you're not dissociating. You don't have DID. Quit watching TikTok.
About something that I'm extremely worried about, and something that I don't know the answers to, and
I know some people do kind of check out and distance themselves, but she's using very specific words to try to have cop-outs later.
I currently can't control. I feel unaware of my surroundings, really, and I think right now I just need to be strong. I need to go through the motions of what I need to do to fix.
That's your fucking problem, Amber. All you ever do in life is go through the motions. You go through the motions of putting effort into your job and making videos and your content. You go through the motions of acting like you're changing your diet and eating healthy and going on walks and being active and making positive changes, cleaning your house and scrubbing your house and taking good care of yourself. All you freaking do is go through the motions. You need to actually just start doing shit. Like, start actually doing it.
Figure out what this issue is so I can get it resolved.
Why? Why? The cancer didn't scare you. You cried so bad, last year about your dangling lung. And, oh, I might have a collapsed lung, boo-hoo-hoo. nom 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 2 hours later on frickin' Chewies and KFC and God knows whatever the hell else. And the ankle and the gallbladder and the, oh God, I've lost track of the dangling body parts. None of it made her change. Not one goddamn thing. So I don't want to hear it. I'm very, very angry. This bitch just sends me.
So I can figure out a solution. I still remember sitting there in
The
media.
first part of the solution, Amber, would be to lose some fucking weight. Lose some weight. Eat less. Eat healthier. And get off your dead ass and move a little bit. Because despite what you say, you do not walk that much with Twinkie. I have to try to find like room on my phone. I'm gonna do a walk. Okay, I'm gonna be Amber. Okay, except I can't waddle like that for a mile. And Frodo's gonna fill in as Twinkie. And I'm gonna do. It's gonna probably be boring as shit. I'll talk. I don't know. I'll do whatever. But I'm gonna do me and quote Twinkie are going to do around our town a whole mile, which is roughly around what we do on average anyways. And he does that 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm going to show you just how far an unedited, uncut mile is with a Chihuahua. And you're going to see there's no way on God's green earth she did it. But she needs to make like changes, like actual changes. And guess what? This lipedema bullshit, I'm going to be doing a video on Anna's lipedema, and it will tie into Amber. I can't lose weight because I'm all lipedema is just such bullshit. It's still part of her body, still counts as her in her metabolism. She's still, Amber doesn't need to eat like 1,200 calories a day like I do to lose weight. Amber still can lose weight on 2,500. In fact, she would lose a lot of weight on 2,500 calories a day because despite what Amber says, she is exactly like those people on my 600-pound life. And in fact, she's worse than a lot of them because a lot of them are more productive than she is. A lot of them have jobs, have partners, have kids, something like that. Amber does nothing.
Care and them coming back and telling me it was not a UTI because I really believed that it was. And when they told me that it wasn't, again.
Well, Amber, here's a clue. Guess what? You're not a medical professional. You're a professional idiot is what you are. You don't know more than the doctors, but you think you know more than everybody.
It's just like flashback after flashback after flashback.
No, you don't get to talk about these flashbacks, Amber, like I already said, because you didn't change jack shit.
Of everything I went through before I was finally diagnosed with uterine cancer. I just kept going back and forth like, do I want to tell you guys about this? Like, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed, but
of course you did, because you needed the money and the clicks and the views. And you should be ashamed of yourself, Amber. You're not ashamed for the reasons you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed because of your piss poor lifestyle, your greed, your laziness, your gluttony, how you have absolutely ruined and destroyed and disabled an otherwise what was initially a healthy, able body. The way you treat people, your selfish, egomaniacal, narcissistic tendencies, how you literally suck the energy and life out of everybody in your immediate orbit. And that's why they all leave you. That's why you're alone. Like the way you've treated your pets in the past. Those are the type of things you should be ashamed of. But that's not why you're ashamed.
It's also like there are things that your body does that you are not in control over. And I know a lot.
This is true. But our overall health and wellness has an effect on those things.
A lot of people are like, this happened to you because of your weight.
It did happen to you because of your weight, Amber. You had that cancer because of your weight. Now, there is a chance because like the family friend I mentioned who had the uterine cancer recently is thin and in shape. Still got it. Amber might have just been prone to it. She might have got the cancer, but her weight probably exacerbated it, made it worse. Maybe it never would have actually grown or developed or anything like that, but because of her weight, it did. Because, that amount of excess fat in general is very hormonally active. It releases a lot of estrogen, a lot of other things they're just learning about now, they're studying. And her body is just so critically unhealthy. She's in a chronic state of inflammation. She's overfed and undernourished. She's depleted in a lot of her nutrients and micronutrients she needs because everything she eats is devoid of actual nutrition, but she's full of like preservatives and sodium and all this other junk, excess carbohydrates, chronically has insulin spiking. She's just got a myriad of things that her body is just not healthy. I'm assuming her triglycerides, her shit's probably all high and out of whack, despite what she says. Probably borderline diabetic at the least. Definitely has fatty liver and stuff like that. Her body is just super unhealthy. So her immune system in general is compromised.
Your weight's fault. This is your weight's fault. Not everything is
And the fact that she didn't go back for follow-ups to get everything cleared and she didn't make changes, it very easily something else could be growing in there. Like who knows what, you know, that if she would have made changes, her body would have been fitter and healthier and more able to fight things off than it is now.
because of my size and because of my weight. So it's hard to come on here and feel like a normal human.
You're not a normal human, Amber. And guess what? It is because of your fucking weight. It's your weight.
Because I get so much like, this is your fault. This is your fault.
It is your fault, Amber. It's your damn fault. You were too lazy to even get up and get your ass driven to the doctor twice a year for your follow-ups. You didn't even have to drive. You didn't have to hail a cab, get on a bus, take an Uber. Becky was taking you. All you had to do was waddle your ass out to the curb because she parked and pulled up right to the curb of your back door. And all you had to do was make the appointment and go in. And in fact, if you were feeling extra lazy, I bet you Becky would have even called and made your appointments for you. Jade would have called and made the appointments for you. So just miss me with it all. Stupid bitch. Oh.
Sometimes it's just literally not my fault. I have
Except it is. Except it is, Amber. This is all your fault.
fully taken the responsibility.
I mean, even when her mom came to visit her when she had cancer, her mom was even telling her, Amber, you don't need to eat that much. You don't need to be eating that much rice. Stop eating that much rice and shit. And Amber got mad. I think that's why, like, I know people get on Mama Lynn now for going out to eat with Amber and stuff. I think what it is Mama Lynn has seen and knows that Amber's just not going to change. She knows there will be a big fight. It'll be a disaster. And Amber's not going to change. So she just does what makes Amber happy, keeps the peace, enjoys the time she has with her daughter, knowing full well that she's going to bury her someday. I think she just, you know how you just get to a point where you just know this person's never going to change. They don't want it for themselves. It's not going to happen. I'm just tired of wasting my breath. And I think that's where Mama Lynn's at with her.
Of me getting uterine cancer to begin with. Like, that is completely my fault. I have
But if you really had taken ownership, Amber, and it had hit you, you would have at least gotten down to a svelte 400. Something like that. You wouldn't have gotten up to, because I do believe this woman was actually over 600 pounds. That wouldn't have happened, Amber.
had health professionals tell me, no, it isn't your fault. But it's like when you look at it.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to go, blah, 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 blah. No, they could say it's not your fault because this can happen because that's true. But they would have been negligent to deny that your weight probably had something to do with it, because statistics show, science and studies show that excess weight, especially to your degree, definitely has an increased risk of certain things and certain cancers, overall all-cause morbidity, but especially cancer, uterine cancer, which is what you had.
And you figure out, why did I get this? It is my fault. And I would have never gotten it if it wasn't for my size. And that's something
So why didn't you change, Amber? Why do you feel that you get to test fate yet again and come out of it unscathed again? Like, this is what makes me mad. This is where I get emotional. This is where I get frustrated. Because ultimately, I'm not wishing death or cancer on anybody. Not on her, not on that frickin' disaster foodie, not on anybody. But it's like, I've lost people in my life, just like you guys have, who maybe didn't have the healthiest life or whatever. Some of them probably did. That Something happened beyond their control and they're gone. And these are people that would have tried and done what they needed to do, made changes, or were trying to live healthy. My son's father worked out, went to the gym, had muscles, was in good shape, ate healthy, took care of himself, was active. An accident, freak thing took him from us. You know, my aunt, I just lost everything her doctors told her to do when she was, didn't eat healthy or anything really, but once she got diagnosed with sarcoidosis, did her best, did everything the doctors told her, stopped smoke, did everything. And these are people that if you would have said, all you have to do is this and this, you know, lose your weight, maintain your weight, eat healthy, go for a walk, and you'll be okay, and you'll get through this, and you'll be around for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids, whatever. They would have done it in a heartbeat. But they didn't get that chance, and they're gone. Yet here's Amber. Here's Amber herpling around, just skirting. I mean, it just blows my mind that her, Foodie, they just get to keep on keeping on when they don't even try. That's the most frustrating part, is they don't realize how lucky they actually are to be skirting these issues and be given second and third and fourth chances. You'll hear this speech or something similar to it when I go over the Foodie video. But like, Amber has no idea how goddamn lucky she is. And the fact of the matter is these girls, their health, their weight, their bad habits are starting to catch up with them. And they are on a time clock, and they are going to run out of time. You know, they always think, like Amber always thinks, I'll start Monday, I'll start tomorrow. She's going to run out of Mondays. She's going to run out of tomorrows, and she's going to come up with a health problem that she can't just wish away or antibiotic away. And she's really going to be in for a rude awakening.
That I hold on to all the time. The guilt that I feel about that is...
You don't feel guilt, Amber. You don't feel guilt. The only thing you feel guilty about is that you didn't have the second 20-piece nuggets.
Powerful. I can't blame everything on my size, because not everything is my size's fault.
Most of it is. The rest of it is not your size, but it's your laziness, your lack of self-discipline or resolve or stuff like that too. So you're right. It's not all your size, but it is all your fault, 100%.
Looking at bigger people and dismissing them constantly for whatever reason.
And you know what? That does happen occasionally. I know. I'm not like blind to that. But from working in the healthcare field for so long and on so many different levels, I can tell you it is rare that people are actually just dismissed. Oh, you're fat, and they're dismissed. Because guess what? We work hard for our medical licensure. We don't want to lose that because we don't like a fat person. There are, despite what Amber wants to believe, there are standards of care you have to follow. You make oaths to follow. There are protocols you follow, whether somebody comes in and they're an adult or a kid or a trauma patient, or if they have, you know, just general standards of care and protocols. Then you go into different, more advanced ones. If they're having chest pain, if they're having abdominal pain, if they're short of breath, if they're altered level of consciousness, there are different protocols that they still take with everybody, whether you're skinny or fat. They don't look and go, oh, you're too skinny or you're too fat. That's what it is. No. They'll get sued, and they don't want to kill people. They don't want their patients dying. They do the job to do, you know, and get that schooling to do a job. There are moral and legal requirements that you have to do. Like when I was in the ambulance, we had basic standard of care and protocols to follow. Then if somebody got in the ambulance and they were having an allergic reaction, you follow this protocol, and then you adjust it as needed for each patient. But there was a standard protocol. A heart attack, a cardiac arrest. Okay, this protocol, this procedure, these steps, you know, like, you know, asthma attack, anything, you know, a car accident. So she just talks, oh, we're just dismissed all. No, you're not. I guarantee that is far more rare than it actually is.
Because of their weight, it isn't fair, and it is in a way dehumanizing.
Well, you know what? Oh, Amber's using another buzzword, dehumanizing, which is in the YouTube TOS, so she can try to strike people, or at least, you know, ding them for harassment. But if it's so bad, Amber, and it's that awful, and you're so discriminated against, poor pitiful Amber, lose some weight, because you wouldn't be discriminated for your weight if you didn't have that weight. So really, the problem is simple. It's all within, the solution is simple. It's all within your hands. You choose to do nothing about it at the end of the day. So do you really think any of us feel bad for you or have a sympathy bone for you? No, I don't have a sympathy bone for you. It's broken. I can't even find it. But if I find it, I'll let you know, and I'll tell you where you can shove it at this point, because nobody feels bad for you, Amber. You are a disaster and a problem and a consequence of your own making, of your own actions.
But I'm not ignorant. I'm not unaware.
That's a matter of opinion, but okay.
Of the fact that like being larger does cause a lot of health problems.
So why don't you lose the goddamn weight? Stop eating so much, Amber. You eat for 3 or 4 people. Cut down to eating just for 2. How about that? That's a start.
It truly does. That is why I've never been health at every size. I don't believe that you can be this size and be healthy, but I do believe
that thank heavens for small miracles there.
Bigger people such as myself, we do experience illnesses or sicknesses that isn't directly caused by our weight.
Yes, that does happen. But like I said, everything is made worse by your size because of the unhealthy and inflammatory state of your body. So a cold is more serious for you. A simple infection is an oh shit moment for you as compared to somebody who's fitter and healthier and their body is more able to just fight things off. So even though you can get things that have nothing to do with your weight initially, your weight has a huge bearing on how your body handles them.
So hopefully that makes sense. And that was like a big reason why like I didn't want to come on here and talk about this, because so many people dismiss me and the things that I go through just automatically. Like,
you didn't want to come in here and talk about this because you knew you'd get the exact reaction you're getting right now, because you know this is your fault. You know you didn't go to follow-ups. You know you're lazy, good for nothing, no good Nick, whatever you want to say, and you didn't want the backlash. But you needed the money, clearly.
Like whether it's health stuff, mental health stuff, just like day-to-day life stuff, I'm just like constantly dismissed and judged because
you don't do anything for yourself. Are you seeing a therapist? No. Do you ever actually stick with a therapist or a doctor or the meds long enough to get any actual benefit out of it? No. Do you listen to them and their advice? No. Are you honest with them so that you can get proper care and assessment? Hell no.
My size. Like it goes on to like simple things like Amberlynn doesn't shower because of her size, or
Amber, you can shower, you can try to shower. Again, I'm going to tell you, you don't adequately clean yourself. I guarantee in that bathroom hidden away from the camera, there's sponges on sticks and all kinds of stuff, which good, fine. If you need them to help you get clean, do it. But you cannot clean yourself adequately. You cannot rinse and dry yourself properly, especially up under your fupa and down on your legs, like your ankle cuffs, like where her ankles actually fold over her leg, her feet, and she needs to actually physically lift that up, clean under there, dry under there, and cream and lotion and powder it appropriately. And there's no way she can physically do that because it's awkward, it's heavy, and it's difficult. She needs somebody to do it for her, and she's too proud to have somebody do it for her because she doesn't want to admit that she has these problems that are completely self-brought on. I'm surprised she's not at least secretly hiring like out of pocket a home health aide to come in and do that stuff for her. I'm really shocked she's not doing that and completely hiding it.
Amberlynn doesn't walk her dog because of her size.
You don't, Amber. We saw how you walk. You don't walk. You waddle. You herple. You whatever you want to call it. You don't walk. And it's very uncomfortable. And it's definitely very painful. I know you act like you don't have pain, but that's one thing I give you. I'm sure you are in immense pain. It must be so painful and uncomfortable to be you. But there's no way you're walking a mile. Because even when you were smaller, you didn't do it because you're lazy as sin. You're lazy. But your weight, there's just no way, Amber. There's no physical way. You walk Twinkie out to the front of your building or to the little dog area if they have it. Let her sniff around, let her walk around. I have a retractable leash too because Frodo's little. If he was big, I wouldn't have it. But you have a retractable leash for Twinkie. You let her walk as far as that thing will stretch out. You stand there. Oh, I took her out. And then you come back in. And I don't think you do it several times a day. And in fact, I think whenever your mom and her boyfriend are around, I think you have them do it a couple times too. Oh, Mom, I don't feel good. Oh, something's hurting. Can you take Twinkie out? And they'll do it.
Or Amberlynn doesn't clean her house because of her size.
You don't. Your house, you take okay care of it, Amber. But you could have a cleaner come in for all we know. Because it is just too physically hard. It's too much exertion for you to do certain things. You'd keel over.
It's like, I have never...
Because she's the size of about 4 women. Her height. She's about 5'2", 5'3". A healthy weight for her is between 110 to 125, 130 pounds. So she's literally 4 women. You mean to tell me she can do everything normally with that much excess weight? No, not at all.
Never given any indication. Yes, 4 years ago, for sure. 2019. Wait, that's literally 5.
Quit going back to 2019, Amber. You are no different than you were in 2019. The only difference is different partner, different location. You're older. You never change. You never get better. You're just as lazy. You're just as narcissistic. You're just as big. You know, like I said, within around 20, 30 pounds. There's no way you were that hindered and disabled then. But now, 5 years later, 5 years older, 5 years more wear and tear on your body, that you're suddenly miraculously so much better. Whatever she does now on her own, she does because she absolutely has to, because she doesn't have a living caretaker yet.
5 years now. 2019, 5 years ago, yes. Like, those things were close to virtually impossible for me at the time.
Same as they are now, Amber.
Like, I have shown my growth. I have shown myself.
You have not grown. Like, this is one of the things that blows my mind the most. She always talks about, and I feel like she's trying to, she thinks if she says it enough, people will believe it. I've changed so much. I'm not the same person. I'm so different. I've shown so much growth. You have grown none. Not at all. Like I said, the only difference is different location, different fluctuation on the scale. You're older and you're worse. You're worse. You're a more heinous person today than you were 5 years ago. Which you'd think that'd be hard to do, but she's done it.
Walking Twinkie. We have walked a mile together multiple times.
No. You may have walked a mile in total with her since you've been there. But like I said, I'm going to try to figure out, because my phone doesn't have a lot of storage. I don't know what's going on with it. But I'm going to try to do it. If not, I may have to borrow my son's phone and record it on his phone and then upload it. I am. The weather's getting nice. It's going to get to a point where I can do it. I'm going to do a full uncut mile with a Chihuahua. And I'm going to show you just how far it is. And you will see there is no freaking way she did that mile. Because whenever she did that mile, supposedly, first of all, she wasn't knackered. She wasn't sweating. She didn't look like she'd walked the mile. But in that footage, I went back and I checked the jump cuts in that footage. There were, I think it was 27 of them. There's no way. Just like with her weigh-ins, until I see a full, completely unedited, uncut version, I don't believe it.
A couple times.
And anyone who believes this bitch walked a mile and wasn't even like the least bit short of breath is delusional.
I talk about my showering. I talk about my cleaning. I talk about all these things. I've shown myself doing these things.
And again, yeah, you can shower and do that stuff, but Amber, you can shower, but you're not clean. Like I said, there's parts of you just can't reach. You're still going to have problems and skin breakdown and discoloration. And your legs probably leak and weep and seep and have open wounds and those like pores that are like the size of quarters and smells from the folds and stuff. You can shower, but that doesn't mean you're clean, Amber.
And just because of my size, people assume that I can't do these things.
And I'm not saying that stuff to fat shamer. I'm saying because as somebody who's worked in the medical field, that's the type of problems you have once you get to levels of obesity that Amber is. It's not, her skin isn't pretty and pristine under those clothes, okay?
It's just really unfair. I didn't want this video to be about my weight or my size, but I think that's something that's just like really, truly heavy.
Yeah, you did, because you're playing a victim again.
On my mind and in my heart right now. Because no matter what I talk about, It could literally be anything. No matter what I talk about on this channel, somehow the reaction I receive is always weight-based. It's always about...
Because, Amber, your weight is your biggest problem. And let's go deep into fantasy land here, okay? Say Amber wasn't morbidly obese. Say she was a healthy size, 120 pounds. Maybe even a little overweight, 150. We'll say somewhere around there. If she was a healthy weight, but she still ate the same way she does, just within a calorie limit that maintained that body weight. If she was still lazy, still didn't walk, still just ate nothing but takeout and junk food just in the size appropriate quantity, she would still probably be pre-diabetic, have visceral fat, have inflammation, high triglycerides, fatty liver. She would still have these problems, okay, because her diet is so horrendous and unhealthy. It just happens to be so much worse because she has gotten so huge. So there.
My size. I do talk about my...
So it's not just your size, Amber. There you go. You should be happy. It's not just about your size, but it is about your behavior. It is 100% about your behavior. That being your diet and lifestyle choices.
Weight a lot on this channel. I'm about to start a new Ozempic journey. That's something that I'm always...
Yeah, and that's going to be wasted on you because we already told you what's going to happen with that one.
Talk about, but that doesn't mean that
she's going to take it for a couple weeks. It's going to make her not want to eat, and she's going to quit. She's going to come up with an excuse. She's already setting up the tone, bringing up, oh, remember my gallbladder and pancreas, and it's expensive. You know, there's going to be a thing. How much you want to bet?
I do in my life is directly a cause of my size. I want to be a person with so many things about them, and one of them just being that I'm super morbidly obese.
But Amber, there's not, and I'm not trying to be mean, but there's nothing else about you. You have no personality. You're not educated. You barely finished a continuation school. Your foster parents had to push you to get through it. Like they had to fight for her to get through that. And that's documented. You don't contribute anything to society. You don't do anything for the people around you. You don't contribute in any meaningful way. There's nothing to you other than your size. You're selfish, you're lazy, you're greedy, you're shallow. You have no deep like faith or belief or anything like that. You don't there's no substance. There's no substance.
But instead, I feel like the internet makes me just a super morbidly obese person. There's nothing else about her. I'm only ever seen for my size. I don't think anybody should ever...
Because Amber, not to be rude, but you're a freak show. Okay, you're a disaster of a person, okay? You just also happen to be a disaster of a person who is the size of 4 people, which begs attention. So forgive us.
Be just seen because of how they look. I will forever...
That's how it is, Amber. Humans are visual creatures. Seeing what somebody looks like or what something looks like gives us a lot of information right off the bat. It's like... ancient DNA type stuff. You know what I mean? What, is there a threat? Is something safe? Is somebody, you know, like it just tells us a lot of things. And looking at you, seeing your size shows people that you have very bad habits, that you are very lazy, that you eat way too much, that you're greedy, that you're a glutton. And that's before you even actually open up your mouth and talk. Okay, I'm done with this one. I don't care about the last minute. I don't care what she's going to say. I'm sorry for the rant. I'm sorry if I came across as too mean or too rude. I feel like everything I said was legitimate though, but I had to get this out. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to relax, maybe take a little walk. Going to do a react, I think, to something that is actually a walk in the park compared to this disaster, which Alex Rodriguez just uploaded a vlog today. So maybe I'll react to that between this and the foodie video because, oh God, my brain might explode. But anyways, like and comment, subscribe for more, do all the YouTube things. I appreciate you watching, listening, whatever you do. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Have a good one.